All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel here. Thank you all for tuning in. Today I have a little bit different video, and it's all car related stuff anyway. But Talon has marked its territory. That's currently out of the garage because I took that down to Mexico last night to, test everything out. And let's just say it runs well. May have gapped a few motorcycles. But I'm going to be pulling in the FRS to do an issue that I've had for it for a while, and it's got an exhaust leak that it's not happy. Started up in the morning, I just hear pew, 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 which is, not the best sounding thing, and it just sounds like an old clapped out car that isn't maintained, and I like to maintain my cars. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I've got to move that, pull the FRS in, throw it up on jack stands, and go from there. So basically, we're gonna start this up and get it moved into the backyard over there, which is gonna be a little bit hard because this thing has no power steering. But it's also gonna be hard because it's cold started and there's no idle air control valve. Oh, you little sucker, All right, now it'll run fine. As long as I keep the RPMs up and I don't stall it, which will be the hard part because it's all a struggle game with this car. But Lego. All right. Oh, hello, Miata. This may be getting sold soon. Let me rephrase that. I may be trading for that, for something else. We'll find out later in a later video. We're gonna see. All right, so it took me a little bit to get it centered exactly where I want it. And, I can still see the oil spot, but at least now I have it in here. I can get jack stands under it from both sides. Thankfully the garage is big enough to where I can get around this vehicle with this one in here and all that over there. Yeah. All right, let's figure this out. All right. Yeah, pretty much stock for the most part. If you'll notice here, I just used a literal cork to pop that, or to plug that thing off, which, is a little sketchy. But that's why we work on cars. We do sketchy stuff, all the sketchy stuff. And I may also do a common fix for an issue that's very common on these while I'm in here with this, which is pulling the oil pan off and making sure that the oil pickup tube does not have any RTV in it. The good thing about that is if I get it apart and I don't like what I see in there, it's in the garage right now. Downside is I only have the Talon I can daily for a bit because I'm about to send the Escalade out with my dad so I can work on his other car, which, I can actually fix because it's going to be simple, unlike that. We're going to dive into this and see how far I actually get. The engine bay really needs to be cleaned in this, and yeah. So let's dive into it. Before I get started, I'm going to clean up this oil spot just a little bit. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get up, but anything is better than nothing. And even with the creeper, it's going to make it a lot easier to move around on the floor in here. So we're doing that first. Now, of course, if I do an oil change on this, which wouldn't be a bad idea, it's got, I don't know, about 4,000 miles in the oil, which is the longest I've gone on this engine so far. I usually change it every 2,500, but I always use Redline. No, this is not sponsored. I just love Redline's oil because I've always had amazing results with that. And the Talon, because the Talon has always had issues with ethanol eating the oil and it leaking a bunch of oil. So within a week on the Talon, generally I would have to fill it up about a quart once a week. Sometimes more than that, depending on how hard I was driving it. But with Redline oil, I noticed it took me about 2.5 weeks before I had to put a quart in it. And I'm like, okay, so the rest of it's just pretty much leaking out. So I'm really confident in Redline oil's capabilities to resist ethanol and alcohol fuels, because if it can resist that and not eat away like every other oil I've tried, I'm like, I really trust it. So that's what I run in this, and I'm going to try to run in everything else when I get a chance. It is kind of expensive, but definitely worth it. These old Harbor Freight floor jacks work amazing. Low profile, long reach. If you don't have one, highly suggest it. All right, now I got a floating FRS that's pretty high up off the ground. I mean, it's to the bottom of my belly right here. Yep, I can really access everything. But now, time to get under the car, remove all of the under shielding, see where I can find this exhaust leak. It looks like all the bolts to this under tray are 12s. So I'm just gonna get my 12 out and my little impact. Probably break them loose with the ratchet and then zip them all off with the impact, because that Ryobi is not the strongest. Actually, it may be strong enough to get these. These aren't really tight. I need bigger jack stands to make this car even higher up. But, you know, you work with what you got. Oh, there's also some 10s under here. I will have to get those off too. Now I'm gonna try to keep this video as raw as possible. I'll have like music in the background, but I'm gonna try to keep it, you know, less B-rolly, because I know that's a lot of you guys just listening to my music that I play pretty consistently, and you guys have heard it a lot, but I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible for you guys. And I don't know if you guys even like hearing me talk. I know I don't like hearing myself talk, but yeah, that's how this video is gonna be, a little bit more raw for you guys. Now, you're just gonna hear me messing around all up under here, saying all the weirdest stuff in the world. That sounds horrible, absolutely horrible. All the rocks that are in there. Ugh. Ugh. All right, we're gonna start with those 3 10s. Get those suckers out, and then I'll get you guys more of a, well, that's just spinning freely, that's fine. And get you more of a perspective of what's going on under here. All right. Let's see, impacto. Ow, that was my ears. And my ears again. More of my ears. And my eyes this time. All right. Cool. Cool. Now we are free. I don't know about young and wild, but we are free. All right. Now we can come under here, and there's my exhaust leak. Look at that. Right there. All that black soot, that's where it's leaking from. And that's what I thought. But, you know, you have to actually come down here and verify. The hardware doesn't look too rusty, so we're gonna hope that comes apart pretty easy. Now, ooh, I didn't know you had to pull the header to get the oil pan off? Well, decisions. All right, ideally this is not something you want to put off, because if that oil pickup tube has sucked up a bunch of RTV, the engine's pretty much compromised. So let's see. I do have an entire weekend, and I do have the Talon I can drive for fun. And this part of the exhaust is already coming apart. All I have to do is get exhaust manifold gaskets for the head, assuming someone has those in stock. I don't know what to do. I'm going to see how easy this hardware breaks loose and go from there. Well, I know the gasket looks fine, but this hardware was like barely overhand tight. So this, I bet the previous owner had an exhaust in this thing, because this is coming loose so easy. I'm getting stuff in my eye. Well, that nut just came loose, but that's fine. And that nut's loose. But aside from that, the hardware is just coming off so easy. I'm like, that's not bad at all. Now I just need to figure out what size those nuts are, get a wrench on them. All right, got that exhaust gasket out. I don't know if that, if those bolts in there were factory. It was like a 10 and a 13, a 10 bolt and a 13 nut. But, you know, this is the perfect time for me to check the gasket size, make sure I got the right one, because, oh man, I always have my knife on me, and this time I actually don't. This is fine. 1 second, right. Now that I got that open, yep, center to center. It's a little bit differently sized, which is perfectly fine, at least from the outside. You only need to worry about the inside. Outside diameter and the bolt hole centers. So that is good. But now the decision to pull the manifold, oil pan, check all that. Tough. All right, well, O'Reilly's, that's right around the corner from me, has exhaust manifold gaskets in stock. So I'm just gonna run over there, grab them, swap them while I pull the oil pan, because I don't want to put that off. I'm like, it's too sketchy of a thing to risk. So I'm gonna go with it, go with the original plan, but I'm gonna start draining the oil now, just so by the time I'm done, it'll, you know, or by the time I get back, it'll basically be ready to be pulling the oil pan. It'll be good. Well, I was like, yeah, this drain pan can take 6 quarts, and yeah, it takes about 6 quarts exactly. That is scary. That's gonna be hard to move. And, you know, can't go together with an oil without doing the filter first. Let's see here. Oh, come on. Perfect. And just for fun, we're going to take the Talon. It's got that very, you know, JDM-esque vibe, even though it's an American car. Very, very JDM-esque. And smells like an old 90s car. Good old lap belt, non-automatic seat belts. I love this thing. And as a lot of you know, this car will never ever be sold. And a lot of you know why. Some of you may not, but follow me along for the journey, and if you go back through some of my older videos, you'll find out why as well. It's funny, this thing sounds so crazy. And then I'll have to see if you guys can hear it when I hit boost, but it's pretty crazy, because I'll hit boost for you guys. All right, here's a little pull for you guys. the noises this thing makes me so happy. So happy. All right, we are back. We are golden. So, the fun part is going to be trying to pull those bolts. Oh, hey, you're glowing. I forgot. You open the door, does that. But, pull the exhaust manifold bolts, drop the header, go from there. Off camera, pulled the oil drain out, drained the oil into another thing. But I also loosened up all the exhaust manifold bolts, and there's 5. And if you look at the gasket, there's supposed to be 6. There's a nut missing on one of the header. One side of the header is also on the passenger side. So not only was I having an exhaust leak from that, but I was probably having an exhaust leak from that as well. So now I've got to find a nut to go on there, which I'm pretty sure I have some over there, which I used potentially either on that. I can't remember. There was something I used it on recently, and it was either that or it was the other MR2. But I'm pretty sure it was something. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to get it on, figure it out, go from there. In order to get it on, I first have to get the exhaust manifold off. Thankfully, they broke loose very easily. But to make the job a little bit faster, I'm going to use an impact. Just because it will get them off so much faster. And why not? If I have the resources, I may as well. I'm going to put on auto slow because I just don't want this thing flying in my face. But thanks, Dad, for letting me borrow your impact. And still got smacked in the face. Was trying to prevent that. Ah! All right. Now to fit this one right here, just a little bit tight because of the subframe. Oh, well, that's part of the car now. Yep, I don't get that back. All right. Perfect. Now we're going to go over to this other side where there's only 2, and then I have to get this off without smashing my face in, which is also going to be, oh, no, I'm not, yeah, I am missing a bolt right there. So I don't know why that one's missing though. Wonder if they had this off at some other point aside from the recall, and they were like, we just don't feel like putting it back on. But I'm glad I'm getting this taken care of now. Go right there. Hold up. Ah, damn it. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. If any of you are watching this, you know exactly what I just did. Maybe. If you know anything about cars, you know exactly what I just did. And I'll explain that here in a second once I get this put back up. I'm sorry. You're probably wondering what I just did and why I was flipping out. I forgot to unplug the O2 sensors. So they were just dangling from up here, basically. So, got to unplug those, then I can drop the header. Then we'll be, you know, good to go. Thankfully, they're real simple, right on the passenger side over here. And you can just unplug them. Just like so. And it's real simple. Gray to gray, black to black. When they come apart, it's real simple, I should say. All right, see if I can get these pliers onto this down here and maybe kind of help me grip onto them a little better. Let's see. Just give me a little bit more leverage. Come on. There we go. Perfect. That one's loose. This one's not attached to anything anymore. We're good. All right. Now I can drop the manifold. Round 2. Fight. Alrighty. Well, surprisingly, doing that wasn't nearly as daunting as I was expecting. Honestly, I was mainly dreading this because I didn't know if any of the hardware was going to be rusted on, if I was going to break off any bolts in the head, and, you know, that's all things you have to consider when you're messing around with this stuff. But, you know, this thing doesn't even look like it had a gasket in there. And I didn't see one on there, on the manifold. But I saw one on this side, and I lost it somewhere. Right there. No, it was there. It was there. But, well, time to get the oil pan off. Check the pickup tube. And go from there. Then clean this up. See if I can find a nut to fit on these studs, clean up those studs a little bit, and go from there. I got a battle scar. Ah! Oh well, no project goes well without battle scars, and that's needless to say because that Mazda doesn't run, and it did not make me bleed once. So anytime a project makes you bleed, that means, guess what, you're doing an amazing job, even though it hurts. All right, I found this nut that seems like it'll probably work. Let's just actually check. It's the same size. Let's actually see if it threads on. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Perfect. Threads right on. Oh, yeah. Ah. All right. Yep. That's gonna be perfect. But time to get oil pan off and see what we have cooking under there. Honestly, while I was messing around with this, I was trying to find a header to throw on this. I would hit up someone and they were like, I don't have a header right now, just a stock one. I was like, dang it. But he did say he had a turbo kit. I was like, but I need to daily this. I'm like, I want to put a turbo on it, maybe at some point, make it similar to how like the MF Ghost one is, but honestly, it's fine for now as a daily. Don't need a turbo on it right now. Gets amazing fuel economy, 44 miles per the gallon. Happy with that. I just wanted a little bit more loud, but it's fine. It's fine. At least I'll get rid of the exhaust leaks and it'll sound much better that way. But let's continue on. John, why do you have a razor blade on a gasket scraper handle? Huh? Huh? That don't make no sense. There ain't no gasket stuck under here, specifically for the exhaust. You haven't even gotten the oil pan off yet. Nah, just gotta clean up the carbon bits here. So when the exhaust manifold goes back on, it seals up nicely as well. Look at that. Cleaning up nicely. All right, you know what the next little bit's gonna be. Thankfully, this next part right here, pretty simple. Just a bunch of 10s all the way around the oil pan here. They're all, you know, not terribly tight as they should be. I mean, as they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be terribly tight. Now, the entire concept of this is just to make sure no RTVs in the pickup tube, which I've probably said that a couple times in this video now. I'm not sure, but in case you guys didn't know, That's why we're doing this. And you should do this on your FRS, BRZ, or whatever else you may have that has this engine in it, because it's almost guaranteed, especially after the valve spring recall, that there's going to be RTV in your pickup tube. And I don't know when this had its valve spring recall done or anything like that. So because I'm obviously not the first owner on this vehicle, I need to do my due diligence and figure out and make sure this thing is going to last me a long time. And you know, it's funny, I did not picture myself today doing this. I don't know what my plan was for today, but here we are. Still having fun though. All right, now I have to go get the screwdriver to put in the oil pan. Back again. I'm back, I guess. You can definitely tell a friend, like, subscribe, and share. That was hilarious. In my opinion, that was hilarious. Alrighty. Okay. I can feel it peeling up. Just not anymore now. I'm also trying to prevent bending the oil pan, because then I'll have to get a new oil pan. Okay, because now I'm just self-conscious and I think the oil pan's just going to come crashing on my face, I'm going to put a bolt back in. Just a couple threads. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm getting the mallet. Man, don't you miss shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog and stuff like that? Great shows. Great shows. Johnny Bravo. Yeah, all those shows. Great shows. And I'm just struggling here. I don't have to record this. You guys already know I struggle every day. Had a phone call, had a quick little intermission, but for now I'm going to go back together with an oil filter. And then I did get the oil pan loose. I haven't pulled it all the way off yet, but I will dig that out here in a second. I didn't know I was still recording. Oh well, that's fine. Okay, that should be good. And I'm weird, I like to stick a magnet on my oil filter because it acts like a, well, magnetic oil filter at that point. But back down to here, we're gonna pull the oil pan, which is almost all the way off already. That is interesting. I have not seen, what the hell? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. What the hell is going on here? Huh. I don't know what to think here. Hold on. I've never in my life seen an oil pan like this with these weird, I'm guessing these are pickup tubes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go. I'm assuming what clogs up is this right here. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I don't know what these are. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not a Subaru guy, so I don't know how all this works, but at least in comparison to a regular engine. So yeah, I'm learning here as I'm chugging along with everything on this. I'm gonna pull this, and I'm assuming I'm looking for something in here. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. All right, so these were, barely tight. Oh, well, that's fine. Anyway, and come on. All right. I'm gonna look here and see what we've got. Ooh. Yep. There is some RTV in there. So it isn't the worst, but there is some in there. Yep. So now I gotta clean that out if I can and go from there. But hoping there's none stuck up inside over there. Yeah, well, I'm glad I did this anyway, because you never know. You never know. So, all right. Now that we know that I had some RTV in there, I'm satisfied that I did this. I mean, I can pull this stuff literally out of the pickup tube, but imagine that, you hope that gets stuck in the oil filter and doesn't just clog the pathway to the oil filter. Like, that's real bad. But that's why you check this thing, just because of this specific issue. Because you never know how much RTV is actually in there. All right, you'll see me here in a little bit. Okay, thankfully that was actually pretty easy to clean out. With that screen there, I even checked up in the tube in here. Thankfully there's nothing left in there. So this should be good to go back on now, but I'm gonna look around some more in the engine since I have the pan off, because why not? All right, well, I'm going back together with everything, cleaned up the oil pan surface as much as I could. This is like kind of on there. I couldn't really get it off. I mean, I could probably, if I sat here for the next 45 years and messed with it, but yeah, dipstick pickup, or wow, oil pickup tube is cleaned. And now I just have to clean up all the rest of these surfaces, tighten up this pickup tube, and we'll be back in business, baby. Now, of course, this is aluminum. Those are pretty small bolts. You don't have to make them real tight. Probably maybe 15 foot-pounds, if that, which is probably less than tighter than a drain plug. Definitely less than tighter than a drain plug. So, yeah, we're good there. Now I just have to prep the oil pan and get some RTV on that and go from there. And like I've said before, I'm always going to go together with some Toyota Fippage. This is the best stuff, no matter what. I don't care if this is a Subaru. I don't care if that's a Mazda over there. Toyota Fippage is going on it. Best stuff ever. All right, one of the more satisfying parts about this perfect. All right, my face is pretty dirty, I can imagine. We're almost back together. I got the exhaust manifold back on. I just have to connect it back to the overpipe. Goes over the subframe. Oil filter is on. Then I just fill it with oil, and then we should be pretty much good to go, because Toyota Fippage, you assemble everything within 15 minutes. Like it says on here. So you assemble everything within 15 minutes, allow 30 to 60 minutes before driving. Hardness becomes rubber-like in 15 to 16 hours. So it's probably going to be 30 minutes before I get everything fully back together, and then go from there. Man, my face is itchy with all the stuff all over it. But yeah, this is a must-do if you have an FRS, BRZ, GT86. Anything with the FA20 in it. I'm assuming the FA24 probably had the same issue. Must do. Definitely a must do. Yes. Also, Felpro, they make really good gaskets. So the gaskets that go between the head and the header, actually, like, when you slide them on the bolts, they stay on the bolts. Felpro did a really good job. I don't know if the OE ones are like that, but basically, so they would slide up, keep in place, and then go from there. All right, friend stopped by to pick up some stuff for the MR2 so we can get, you know, idle air or intake air temperature sensor welded in, and just kind of go over some stuff with the shifter, things like that. But back onto this, I just need to fill it with oil. Got the exhaust all back on and the shield back on as well. So I'm gonna lower it back down. I put it on a float charger because why not? Yeah, I'm gonna lower it back down, get everything out from under it. I should probably do vice versa. Get everything out from under it, lower it back down, fill it with oil, and start her up. Make sure she's got no more exhaust leak, and should be good to go. All right, now time to fill her up with oil. But all back together, oil is in it. Let's give her a start. Oh, sitting on my wallet. Ah, yes, it's so quiet. No more exhaust leak. I love it. All right. We are back in business, baby. Yeah. Now I know all you're gonna be like, why do you have all those lights on your dash? That's party mode, because I pulled the ABS fuse. party mode. Now that it's done its idle down, kill it. And double check oil once it gets back down to the oil pan, but it should be pretty much topped off perfectly. All right, well, I hope this has helped any one of you that have a BRZ, FRS, anything of the sort, GT86, anything that has this engine right here, in being able to remove the oil pan and everything like that. And also, maybe you have an exhaust leak. Maybe this will help you find that as well. But yeah, reseal the oil pan, put new gaskets on the header, put a new gasket in between the header and the overpipe that goes over the subframe there, and did an oil change, of course. Obviously, needed to do an oil change once I had the oil pan off, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope this actually helps any one of you out. Let me know if there's any other videos you guys want me to shoot that are like this, that are more, you know, just doing regular maintenance, stuff like this, because I know this helps a lot of you guys out. But just please like, subscribe, share, and just remember, don't quit on a body that won't quit.